So, I apologize, I thank you, and I welcome you. So I'm just going to start off. I'm very grateful that Rick approached us and asked us if we would come and present here in this group. And our topic tonight is on alkalinity and alkalizing, and what is it, and what does it mean, and everywhere we turn we're hearing pH balance, alkalizing, and there's so much confusion. So we have for you tonight 3 very special guest speakers, very dear friends of mine, and knowledgeable, very knowledgeable women to help to cut through what it is, what it means, and how you can work with it. But before we start, I would like to ask you just to bear with me a couple of minutes. I want to share a story with you. And I want to introduce to you my husband, Larry Beckingham, and my beautiful daughter, Cynthia Beckingham. And our story began 15 years ago at the end of December when we first got a phone call telling us that our daughter had cancer. It's kind of a funny, hard one for me, but I think it's really important to tell you because people don't get it. People are saying, it never happened to me. Never happened to my child. It does. So the whole medical system shut us down. Go home, you've got the worst of the worst of the worst, metastatic melanoma. You are going to suffer and nothing will touch your pain. Go home and die. One man came through for us, Mr. Calvin Cumberland. 15 years ago in January. We were told about a group that meets at the college every month. And they were called A Cure for All Cancers because they were working with the work of Dr. Hulda Clark. This was the only group that gave us any hope, any help, any inspiration, any knowledge whatsoever. We hawked our house and went to Mexico with her. And again, this group just was our backbone. They were our support. To the point that Calvin called us every day when we were in Winnipeg trying to do the natural medicines in Winnipeg. We were smuggling in oxygen. Remember that, Calvin? Oxygen from the States. We had to smuggle it in over the border because it was illegal in Canada. When we went to Mexico, we had to smuggle back magic mushrooms from Mother Teresa. It was just ridiculous. In Mexico, we learned so much. We had an education in 5 months that would take most people a lifetime. Between what we learned from this group, from Dr. Hulda Clark's books, and in Mexico, it always boiled down to alkalizing. Always, always, always. So no matter how we looked at it, we thought, we're going to make a difference in the name of Loretta Ann Beckingham, our daughter. We're going to make a difference. So we searched and we kept looking for different ways that you could be healthy. We tried organic gardening. Dr. Heather Robertson and I have one stevia plant after about $400 or $500 worth of trying to grow organic vegetables. We've tried juicing. It's a lot of work. You go to the stores, you try to buy organic. What is it? Well, then I got into reading labels, and that was even worse. That was a real nightmare. So, our big thing here today is to tell you about alkalizing. I promise you it's the answer to so many things. That and your own mind, right? Your own thoughts. But everything comes full circle in life. I really believe that. And I believe for us, this is our opportunity to help other people to find a way to alkalize. And you're going to hear us talk. It's going to refer a few times to that. We just recently, last February, found a company, and it's the first and only company in the world that sells 100% toxic-free products. And for us, that was a wow. We couldn't believe it. We have a way now to alkalize that is much easier than anything we ever tried. But there's lots of other ways to do that. It doesn't need to be, you can do all the natural ways to alkalize. There's lots of them. So even though you're going to hear about Asante Organics, which is the company that we all belong to, it's mainly because it's an easier way to get it than the juicing and the raw vegetables, but you can do it that way too. So this is not a forum. We're not here to sell you anything or any of that stuff. We're here to tell you about alkalizing. And at the end, if you're interested, we can show you some simple products that will help you. But our message, is definitely about alkalizing. And our thanks is so much to Mr. Calvin Cumberland, and much appreciation to Rick for carrying on what Calvin started. So before I introduce our speakers, there is a washroom. It's just down there to the right, around the corner. And you're going to see, this is a group of us. I just have to show you because I'm so proud of it. These are a team of women who went out when this was new to tell the world how to read labels. And they're in this room, most of them. They went out to tell the world how you read labels, how you kind of get through some of that. So I'm really proud to say that Thunder Bay is one of the leading places in Canada that is really taking off with all of this stuff and trying to educate people. So we're going to have two of our speakers, then a short video, 10-minute video, then our another speaker, and then another 10-minute video, and then we'll have time for lots of questions after. So we'll try to keep, I guess you guys have what, about an hour and 20 minutes or so?
As long as you want.
Chuck it in. Come on in. So, hey. So,
We have to sit at the front.
Early bird gets the worm.
Punishment for coming late.
Afterwards too, if you're interested, we do have a couple of samples that you can taste. So just make sure you're not allergic to anything. This isn't college, this is just us. We wanted to bring out samples, we don't get anybody into trouble. So, and there's a couple of, I printed out the websites that the 2 videos you're gonna watch tonight. Share them with everybody. I don't care how we get it out, we have to get the word out to people. You know, the big fear around cancer, it doesn't need to be like that. We need to get the word out. So take those with you, tell people, get the word out, and you're gonna know who to contact after if you need more information. So I'm going to begin by introducing our first speaker. This is Dr. Heather Robertson. So Heather, you want to mosey up? And these women all have extremely busy lives, and I just so appreciate that they took the time out to come. So Dr. Heather Robertson has been a chiropractor in Thunder Bay for 14 years. She's also an author and a teacher. Now, Heather's always been fascinated with the body's innate ability to heal. Isn't this cool? A medical professional that is looking for how the body can innately heal itself instead of how we can pump more into it. She studied the effects of nutrition, proper body mechanics, and one's mental and spiritual health on the overall well-being of a person. 5 years ago, Dr. Heather designed and started a teaching of a wellness program that she calls it Eat, Move, and Think for Life. It's a powerful, powerful program. It's been very successful, inspiring people to take their health to vibrant new levels. Heather's expertise in the area of alkalinity has helped many, many people, and now she's sharing with groups how alkalinity can be achieved by anyone. When she's not inspiring people to find health, she's the busy mom of 2 beautiful boys. And I would add, a lovely husband. So I will mom to a lovely husband. Yeah, mom to a lovely, well, I turn this over to Heather.
All right, thank you, Joan, for the beautiful intro. And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to all of you. I've heard lots about this group, sort of, you know, in bits and pieces. It's like this sort of secret society that I get to start. This is so exciting. But really, having the opportunity to talk to people about health is something that it's a passion that drives me to do things all the time. And to speak to people who really kind of get the bits and pieces and just are looking for a way to pull it all together is really exciting. So thank you very much for having me, or whoever arranged this to let me come. So like we're talking about, Joan was talking about the alkalinity. Lots of people talk about this word and lots of people really don't understand what it is, or they're kind of afraid of the subject. It's very science-y sounding and can be a bit overwhelming. But really it's a simple concept. In your body you have incredible control over things. Your innately wise self controls all things. It controls your body temperature, your blood sugar, the speed of your heart, the way you digest food, the way you pump out toxins. All of this happens without you having any control over it. And your body is really sensitive to acid levels in your blood. And when your acid levels become a bit too high, almost immediately your body will do something inside to bring the acid levels down, and that's alkalinity. So it's going to affect the acid levels by creating an alkaline environment. They're just two opposite ends of a scale. Your body loves to be really close to neutral. Things that are neutral are things like tap water, coconut water. There's not a lot that's perfectly neutral. But in your body, 7.35 is the magical number. And at 7.35, that's where your body wants to stay. It's slightly alkaline from neutral. Your body will do everything that it can to stay at that level. So we all know that if your blood sugar rises, your body releases insulin, brings your blood sugars back down. If that goes too far, you end up in a diseased state or diabetic. If your body temperature rises just above the normal, okay, it will do things to bring your temperature down. You'll start to sweat, the sweat will evaporate, you start to cool down. Your temperature drops, you start to shiver, your temperature comes back up. Your alkalinity is just the same. So as soon as your body becomes slightly acidic from 7.365, the easiest way for your body to neutralize acid is to use minerals. So minerals like calcium, magnesium, potassium, these things are critical to your health, but they're essential to bringing your body back to that alkaline balance. We can't afford to lose calcium, we can't afford to lose potassium, and we can't afford to lose potassium. Body doesn't function very well. So if you're in an acidic state, your body is going to leach out some very special and very healthy components in order to bring you back to that 7.365. Now what happens in your body if you stay acidic for too long or you can't pump out those minerals quick enough? In an acidic environment, you will become inflamed. So we all know inflammation causes swelling, causes joint pain, causes indigestion, constipation, diarrhea. It can cause your skin to react, so you might have eczema or psoriasis. Those types of things, that's inflammation. So if you're familiar with inflammation, that state is an acidic state, okay? So when you change and you shift from acid to alkaline, you'll notice that your inflammation levels are much easier to control. When you're in an acidic environment, your body can't remove or convert toxins to allow your body to flush them out, which means that when toxins are in your system, your body can't have them floating through your blood, so it will store them in a safe place. And you store toxins, environmental, chemical, food pesticides, whatever they are, you will store them in a fat cell because that's a safe place for them to be. So if your acidity level is high and you can't convert a toxin into a safe exit removal pattern, then you will store them in a fat cell. And if you're toxic, your body won't release more toxins into the safe environment, which means you're going to hold on to body fat for a lot longer because you can't shed what you can't handle. So if you're acidic, you'll have trouble losing fat cells or losing weight. The other thing that happens when your body is acidic is that the cells don't communicate well. They can't talk to each other, they can't pass on information, they can't pass on nutrients to each other very well. When communication is off in a cell, a lot of times it will divide too quickly, or it will cause the cells to overgrowth. And cellular overgrowth without control is cancers. So that's what happens to cells when they start dividing too quickly, is that then they create tumors or cancers. And the other thing that happens when you're chronically acidic is that you will become severely mineral deficient. So you'll be looking at magnesium deficiencies, which cause disturbances in your stress levels, in your ability to sleep calmly, in calcium levels, which will leach from your bones, your teeth. It also creates problems with muscle relaxations. If you're having muscle cramps all the time, a lot of times that's low calcium. And potassium is your blood pressure. So if your potassium levels are off, You can't control your blood pressure as well. So these are critical components that are directly related to your body's acidity level. So if you are suffering from things like inflammation, chronic pain, joint pain, skin eruptions, low energy, brain fog, mood changes, things like trouble sleeping, muscle cramps, headaches, if you're in a high risk group for cancers, if you crave sugar a lot, if you have trouble losing weight, if you're prone to kidney stones, if you have high blood pressure, if you suffer from frequent colds or flus, these are all things that are related to high acidity levels in your body. So how did we get there? It's actually really easy in today's society to become very acidic very quickly. The things that cause our body to become acidic are the things we have access to all day long, wherever we turn. Things like sugars, alcohols, processed foods, food coloring, toxic products in your foods, toxic products in your health and beauty, in your home care. Anytime there's a chemical in your environment and it goes into your body, it'll increase the acidity level inside. Any stresses, good stress, bad stress, any stress at all will increase your acidity levels. So people sometimes will ask me, well, you know, if it's such a delicate balance, can you be too alkaline? You know, can you do too much and push your body to the other side? I said, well, are you worried about it? If you say yes, well, then your acidity levels is just risen and you're probably back down to neutral. Your stress level will change your acidity level very, very quickly. I always think of things in a group 4 factors. So it's eating, moving, thinking, and your toxins in your environment. So if you look at what you're eating, whether you're moving or exercising, or there's too much stress in your movement, so you're chronically overusing one side of your body, creates a body stress, and that causes your acidity levels to rise. And then there's an emotional factor as well, so that stress level definitely has an effect. So if you know you don't want to be acidic, and you know how you become acidic, what do you do about it? How do you change? How can you affect this acidity level inside? And I will tell you that in a short period of time, like within 24 or 48 hours, you can make a drastic change in your acidity levels. You don't have to be acidic all the time, but you do have to make changes. And the longer you make the changes for, and the more small steps that you take, the easier it is for your body to shift from acid to alkaline. So again, we look at eat, move, think, and your toxin level. So how can you change just by what you're putting in your body? So for starters, you can stop putting in the things that cause you to be acidic. So your sugars, your processed foods, your alcohols, your coffee, artificial sweeteners, what else? Processed food, fast food, things like that. You can start putting in foods that encourage your body to shift to alkaline. There are things like your greens, your organic vegetables, your sprouts, your seeds, more raw foods, less cooking, less meats. You can move in ways that your body can release stress. So things like yoga, things like Tai Chi, movements that will allow your body to, you know, counteract the stress that we're putting on it, and also encourage it to release other toxic effects. And the other one is to decrease your toxic exposure. So making sure that you're not putting in things like pesticides, toxins in your beauty products, too many chemicals in your foods, too many chemicals in your home and beauty cleaning products. So really, by making small changes in what you do every day can make a big, big difference in how your body functions. So all the things that you've related to acidity levels can start to change with just by eating more greens, just by eating more vegetables, maybe by juicing, maybe by putting lemons in your water, drinking more water more often, slowing down your breath and meditating maybe a couple times a week, taking a class like a yoga class or a Tai Chi, or just getting together with friends, not sort of putting more acidic things in your body, but maybe going out for a nice walk around the lake. Things like that that allow your body to just start to de-stress and start to remove toxins. Every effort that you do will make a big difference. Once you start feeling better, that's alkalinity, okay? Inflammation levels decrease. It'll cause you to be inspired to look for more healthy things to do, make more choices, more good, healthy choices. So you can be inspired to do more for you and your loved ones. And you can make a difference, and you can make a change really quickly in your body. And if you could just be inspired to try a few of those things, this season in particular, we're about to be kind of bombarded with the things that cause us to be acidic. You know, lots of chocolates, and lots of sugar, and lots of, you know, excess of things, lots of stress. So whenever you know that you're going to be involved in things that cause you to be more acidic, make a bigger effort to become alkaline so that you can keep that shift happening on the more neutral or more alkaline side. But everything that you do will make a big difference. And that's my answer.
No, I think, were we gonna do the film first, or do you guys already? No, I think she's beside the part. Right, so next, I think that's options. Okay. Okay, so next I'd like to introduce to you a lovely, lovely lady. And I just admire so much that she will step out and share what her truths and her part in this. This is Carlene, and Carlene is a licensed social worker, and she's a really big advocate for the green movement. Carlene shares she's had a personal journey with breast cancer. And I think unless you've had that personally in your life, it's just such a fear, but you don't know. It's one of those things I think you have to walk through to really get it, right? So I really admire that she's willing to step up here. She gained first-hand knowledge about the importance of alkalizing the body and living toxic-free. Can you imagine how fast her lessons came in this area? She has a strong desire to create awareness and to help others to achieve this. So I welcome Carlene to share.
Thanks, Joan.
She's an angel.
Some might not think that.
What's his name?
He's right there. Anyways, thank you for having me here. And it's funny, about a year ago, I had gone to Heather and said, we should do something together. I wanted to do something to help others. And here we are, doing something together. But my journey started a few years ago, and I was in a profession working as a counselor and group facilitator with abused women for several years, and had done my master's at university in the stress of school and everything. And I really had done a number on my body, and I was resorting to energy drinks and chocolate to get me through, or wine, whatever it took. Sometimes all three, yeah. But, no, so I had some really poor habits as a way of coping with high levels of stress in my life at the time. And about 2.5 years ago, I was facing total burnout in my work, and I knew I was unhealthy. And I'd gone to Heather, and I talked to Heather a few times, and she started talking to me about alkaline and diet and the importance of lifestyle and having a good, healthy diet. And that's really hard to put in practice sometimes when it's something that hasn't really been that significant part of your life. And it wasn't until the cosmic 2x4 hit me in the head about 6 months later, I was diagnosed with cancer. And that's when it was like, okay, now I really got to do something. And I have had 3 surgeries, and I have another one coming up. I have breast cancer. I still have some lumps. I still have some worries, but I'm not as worried as I was the first time around. But I did have to learn a lot, and I learned in a short time. So one of the things I found was that mainstream medicine wasn't the best fit for me in a lot of areas going through this. And I was very interested in the complementary and alternative therapies. But that also didn't work with being off work and having an insurance provider that demanded that you follow the standards of practice that your oncologist set out for you. So there was a lot of stress, there was a lot of struggle, and there was a lot of hard times making decisions what to do. And I was fortunate to have Heather and her husband Aaron were my chiropractors, and I have naturopaths, Jessica Carfanini and Tracy Cook, who I went and I could talk to and gather some information from them. And I kept getting the same information that about the high alkaline diet and de-stressing. And I also went on my own journey of getting more information. So I had talked to Heather, and Heather was the one that set me on the path first. And then I had talked to Toscarino when she was doing a workshop in Fort Francis. And Tosca is a big fitness guru, I don't know if people are aware, but she really promotes the Eat Clean programs. And Tosca's husband had just died of cancer about a month and a half before I talked to her. So she gave me some really specific details on what to do. And again, it was all about this high alkaline diet. And then one of the books that really helped me out was Chris Carr, who, an American woman who had stage 4 cancer and still does, but lives a very healthy life. And Heather got to meet her in Washington, D.C. a couple of years ago. It was like, so cool. But Chris Carr, and then there's another doctor, and this isn't the book I had. He has the anti-cancer book. It's David Servan-Schreiber. And he actually had a whole diet in the back of the book relating to alkaline levels and even exercise, which exercises are best for certain kinds of cancers. So these 3 books, Heather and whatever else I turned to resources I was finding, all said the same thing. So that was good. My husband Tony at the time was doing organic gardening, so I did have that available to me. But then, you know, at the end of season, you don't have that. Trying to get organics in Thunder Bay, get your, it's like you had to go to Safeways, to Superstore, and to A&P just to get enough of the vegetables that you were looking for. Then trying to juice, like it was good, but it was really costly. Accessibility is, you know, you're only getting what's available, it's limited. Going to the health food stores can be really intimidating. That the prices, some of the prices are, you know, just out of this world, but you don't know what to get, you don't know what you need. So I just found recently I was doing really well, and then I had a lapse. I've had some personal issues and got really stressed out, and I had the last surgery I had, the outcome, it didn't turn out how I thought it was going to be, and I got really depressed. And instead of getting back on track, I went on the other track. I didn't care, and I started back into the sugars again. I started back that I needed an energy drink every day. I was so addicted to sugar, and I turned up at Heather's place again. I'm back, help! And that's what's happened. Is that was about 6 weeks ago. I just said, I need to admit I've got a problem here, and I need some help. And you know, social sugar is a social drug. Like, you know, you can get it anywhere. It's not illegal. It's, you know, just mainstream way to go. And that's, you know, to get through, to cope. So I did talk to Heather, and we did make a little plan. And this is about the same time I met up with Joan and the Asante group, and it was like all these things came together at once. So I just got involved because I thought, oh, this would be great for me, because I need to get my body alkalized, get involved, become a distributor for myself, so I can just get the products myself and get what I need. And now that I've joined and got involved, it's like, wow, I want to help my family, I want to help my friends, I want to, you know, spread the news, whatever I can do to help, because it doesn't have to be as complicated as trying to get to all those grocery stores, get all your foods, incorporate that time and prep work into your day. Real people, like, it's kind of hard. It's kind of, you know, for the everyday working person trying to do that. So this I found was one alternative one easy step that can help. And that's why I got involved, and that's why when Joan asked me, well, will you come and share your story? I said, well, of course, if it's gonna help somebody else, you know, as nerve-wracking as it is standing up in front of everyone. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. I wanna help other people. Because I had people along the way that were helping me, and I wanna pay it forward. That's
I told you she was an
do.
angel. You know what she was saying about sugar? I heard the other day that sugar they've now found is more addictive than cocaine.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
And do you want to get the, so, I mean, that's a really big thing to be concerned about. So now we're gonna put a video on for you, and it's 10 minutes, and it's called The Talks of Truth. Does anyone have to run out for a minute while we get this on? Everybody good? Okay, pull this down. Those are some really good resources, Carmen.
Oh, I've got lots of resources.
Okay, so. So Rebecca, how's that?
Is that okay for everyone to see, or do you want all the lights on?
Get a volume on this, is there a volume on this? Yeah, on the wall, I see.
Okay, hang on, let's find the volume.
Okay, hang on.
You have to press play now. Okay, let's see what this sounds like. Louder.
Oh, not yet.
Can you hear it?
No, I can hear their phones and not here.
All right.
Is it not listed, I think, for sound that we have to plug in?
Oh, maybe.
That would be it.
Let's try that.
There we go. Whoa. Okay, now watch, it's gonna blast. Okay, everybody hold your ear.
Try it.
Brilliant.
Can you just stop it?
What's it? Nope. There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
For the sake of your children, your grandchildren, and your entire family, we urge you to watch this video in its entirety.
Ask yourself this, why is there such an epidemic of ADHD amongst our children?
They can't even concentrate in school anymore.
Why are there so many cancers like breast, liver, colon, kidney, and prostate at epidemic levels?
Why are birth defects and brain, liver, and kidney disease such national issues?
Sinus and asthma problems have also become major health issues.
Why are so-called old age illnesses now attacking our children?
What's going on? The short of it is that our immune systems are breaking down. Drug companies can't work fast enough to give us remedies to fix our illnesses.
During this presentation, we are going to discuss how and why this is all happening. Then, we will introduce you to a wonderful solution.
A solution that you can actually capitalize on as well.
Would you knowingly put your family in harm's way by using products such as shampoos, soaps, personal care products, and cleansers that cause liver cancer, kidney cancer, breast cancer, heart palpitations, vomiting, sterility, miscarriages, and a myriad of other nightmare health problems? Of course not.
But the fact of the matter is that most common everyday household items, including personal care items, detergents, and makeup, to name just a few, contain a toxic horror chamber of acids, alcohols, poisons, and preservatives. Women use nearly 200 toxic ingredients daily in their routine, and men use nearly 100. These toxins, even in mild forms, mount up, stay in our bodies, store in our cells, and break down our immune system.
Here's a short list of the top toxic ingredients you'll find in your home.
Once again, check these ingredients against the products you use.
Propylene glycol, butylene glycol, or ethylene glycol. Now run into your garage and check your antifreeze. Antifreeze is one of those glycols.
Now, check your facial cleansers, shampoos, conditioners, toothpaste,
underarm deodorants, and baby products. These glycols act as surfactants, wetting agents, and solvents. They penetrate the skin fast, weaken protein and cellular structure.
They're strong enough to remove barnacles from boats. The EPA warns us not to pour them into our soil, yet we smear them on our bodies.
Propylene glycol, often called PEG, resembles ethylene glycol in its physical properties, and PEG is used extensively in foods, cosmetics, personal care, baby care, and oral hygiene products. It's a skin irritant that can cause liver abnormalities, kidney damage, and is directly related to cancer.
The higher the PEG content, like PEG 20, 50, 100, or 120, the worse it becomes.
About 1/3 of all the beauty and personal care products you use morning, afternoon, and evening contain them and do not have a warning label.
Why are these glycols used in such abundance? One answer: they come cheap. The non-toxic ingredients needed to replace them are far more expensive.
Sodium hydroxide. This time, check under your sink. Check out your Drano or other sink and oven cleaners. Especially check the Crystal or Dry Drano. Crystal Drano is 100% sodium hydroxide.
This is a poison. Read the warning label. Look at the skull and crossbones. Yeah, it's caustic soda lime. You'll find sodium hydroxide in most common toothpastes, especially the ones claiming total or extra whitening. I guess they figure if it cleans your drains, it'll do a good job on your teeth. It's also in many of your soaps and facial cleansers.
Sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium lauryl sulfate, or ammonium lauryl sulfate. These sulfates are strong detergents. They're used in garage floor cleaners and engine degreasers.
Yet they'll be in 90%, get that, 90% of your beauty and personal care products, the foam. Why? It's the cheapest way to create foam. They're linked to eye damage, depression, diarrhea, skin irritation, and even death.
Our bodies retain these sulfates for extensive periods of time. This means that even smaller dosages amount up to higher and higher levels of toxicity in our bodies. Think of what that means to smaller bodies, like infants and children. Think of the unborn infants. Any wonder why attention deficit and learning disabilities are at epidemic proportions?
If that's not enough to frighten you, consider this. Most of us know that formaldehyde is used as a preservative in mortuaries and medical laboratories. But did you know that the National Cancer Institute says that formaldehyde is also used to produce many household products?
In fact, formaldehyde is often used as a preservative, with no discussion of the potentially dangerous and destructive effects on the human body. Imagine that. You could be using something in your house or on your child's body that contains a chemically normally used in the embalming process.
Here's another example. Chemicals that end in the letters amine. These chemicals are often used in lubricants, paints, and cleaners. The most common are diethanolamine, or DEA, monoethanolamine, and triethanolamine.
Along with being used in corrosive products, DEA-related ingredients are frequently used in cosmetics. These caustic confections are easily absorbed through skin and accumulate in body organs, even the brain. Indeed, according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the National Toxicology Program, and the EPA, an association was found between the topical application of certain DEA-related ingredients and cancer. The FDA even advises consumers who want to avoid cosmetics containing DEA-related ingredients to be sure to review the ingredient statement on cosmetics labels.
Parabens and phenoxyethanols in spa products and personal care products have been found in breast cancer tumors. In fact, parabens and phenoxyethanols are hormone disruptors and may cause damage to liver and kidneys, birth defects, decreased sperm counts, and early puberty.
Color pigments and fragrances are two other horribly unhealthy products that most people don't realize are found in literally thousands of items. For example, fragrances can indicate the presence of thousands of separate ingredients, including many that are toxic or carcinogenic. Most of us use these products every single day in the enclosed environments of our homes, which are supposed to be safe, secure sanctuaries for our children and loved ones.
According to the nonprofit organization Environmental Working Group, or EWG, more than 500 products sold in the U.S. contain ingredients that are banned in cosmetics in Japan, Canada, and the European Union. What's more, nearly 100 products contain ingredients considered unsafe by the International Fragrance Association. Additional EWG research shows that 22% of all personal care products may be contaminated with the cancer-causing impurity 1,4-dioxin, including many children's products.
Of course, we'd all like to believe that products made for children or bearing claims like hypoallergenic are safer choices. But unfortunately, it's just not true.
Most cosmetic marketing claims are unregulated, and companies are rarely, if ever, required to back them up, even for children's products. A company can use the claim like hypoallergenic or natural, but there's no definition for these terms, so they mean absolutely nothing, except to try to trick people into thinking the products are safe.
As a matter of fact, an investigation of more than 1,700 children's body care products found that 81% of those marked gentle or hypoallergenic contained allergens or skin and eye irritants. This is a nightmare of epic proportions. But what's to be done?
Most people still don't know where to buy non-toxic products. It's not like you can go to drugstores or grocery stores or department stores and find replacements. Even the most expensive are often the most toxic. They might come in prettier bottles, but they're just as bad.
Thankfully, there's a solution to this frightening cornucopia of malignant ingredients and products. A brand new line of products that are not just organic, but also 100% chemical-free and completely and totally non-toxic.
Experts at Asante have been formulating.
Okay, we didn't want to come to promote our business tonight. We came to talk about alkalinity, so I'm just going to stop it there. And as I mentioned earlier, we are at the back later if anybody wants to know more, and we'll invite you to something else. But the main thing right now is to show you how the labels really, we're seeing all natural, and when you look at it, it's not. It'll say organic, and there might be 2 products that are organic, and everything else is not. It might say, or you know, then they've got the, what is it, BPA or whatever that's leaching in from the packaging. So that's what we wanted to show you, was about the problem. And most of you know it, we're preaching to the choir, but it's a really good video to show family and friends even that don't know how dangerous it is. Like I said earlier, people are trying to pretend, oh, it's not going to happen to me. But this is good information for people to know. So next we have a lovely lady, and I want to introduce Lise Lozier. And Lise, I guess I met last February, yeah? And actually all of us are students of metaphysics. It's a spiritual metaphysics, it's how the power of your mind and all these different things. It's a lot of fun, it's very interesting. But we all came together through that. And Lise is a registered nurse. She's been a registered nurse for 34 years now. And she's, actually she teaches at the college and the university too. She teaches as well as works full-time and has 2 children, and she's still standing. Teenagers. God bless you. So she's worked at numerous places, but one that has enriched her the most and is most important, how it's changed how she cares for herself and for others in her family, was when she worked in Switzerland. And she wanted to share something about that and a couple of other things. But I just want to mention that Lise comes from her whole family background is people that worked with energy and worked with nature. I think one of your grandfathers actually was like a horse whisperer sort of thing.
He was actually, he would treat animals and treat cows because we had a big dairy farm, but he would basically go up to them and he would know what was going on or whatever, and he could actually just, with his hands, and be able to generate some energy, and he would actually let the cow to deliver the baby or whatever. He'd be calling at a long distance, he'd be treating people or whatever. But it was always, he always did it, and the horses that he trained were wild horses, and he just whispered to them, and then he would use them on his land because he had a big, huge dairy farm. They provided all the milk and the cream and the cheese and butter and all of that was all made natural from my grandma.
And
But
so,
anyway,
and Lise carries a lot of that kind of healing energy in the work that she does, and in fact, I know if you're in the hospital, they will go and get her to come down and start an IV or something. And it's, like she says, it's because she calls on loving energy to be able to do it. She doesn't go in all nervous, she goes in with a love in her heart, and that's why she is so profound at the work that she does. So we'll give another 10 minutes to hear Lise tell what she wants to share.
Thanks. I'd like to thank everyone anyway to be here. It's just surprising. We have one young person. I talked to my daughter was going to be here, but she's mid-exams right now, so it's impossible for her to be here. But she definitely, she realizes coming home after being away how important alkalining is and how it has improved and helped her immensely in just her being and stuff like that. But anyway, the thing I was asked to speak about tonight was because how I value life and how I feel that the most important person in caring for you and in caring for whatever health issues you have is actually yourself. Traditional medicine, yes, they do have their importance there because they, in a crisis situation, yes, they will remedy things, but it's the cause. We have to go down to the root. We have to find out why these things are happening and what we, as our how would you say that, our master control of ourselves is us, that we have to take charge of it, and we have to go forward and bring what us, our own knowing, and trying to find out all these things so that we can work together to make that we are the healthiest possible. Because we can't control DNA, but we can certainly delay DNA from developing in how we care for ourselves. So alkalizing is the thing. And to me, it was the biggest awakening was when I went to Switzerland. I went over there after 9 years of practicing over there and had a chance to be there. And all of a sudden, God, I encountered people. It was just amazing how good they looked, but their age. And how many hundred people, like it was nothing to me, people that were 100 years old over there, sane of mind, physically fit, still going up in the mountains and walking with us. My best walking partner was a 90-year-old little lady that used to walk with me in these hikes of 2 to 3 days in the mountain. She'd come, I was friends with her daughter, but she'd always come with us, and she'd be walking with her cane and her dress, and I'd always be so impressed. But the thing is, when we sat down and talked, it was very healthy eating, but not just healthy, because over there, they do not treat their stuff with chemicals. They don't treat their stuff with toxic stuff. They don't allow it. And the thing is everything is all healthy grown. We go to the market every 2-3 days and we buy healthy garden stuff that's grown organically, and they detoxify. They do these cure things. So all of a sudden somebody comes springtime, well, springtime was okay, dandelion. I was exposed to all of these. I thought, oh my God, this is different. Here we're going, here we don't like those dandelions, we're killing them with these pesticides. No, they hunt for those dandelions, and they just want to, because they make these dandelion salads and these roots that they take, and they detoxify themselves. They detoxify their liver. Then they do this cure of extremely good hydration, and then they walk the mountains. They de-stress, because they go to these retreat things where they basically go in the mountains and they breathe and they relax and they enjoy the beauty of what surrounds them. So they stop every so many times a year. They stop, and this is for me, and I take care of me, and I go up in the mountains and I will sort of resource myself. Then comes fall time. Then fall time is all their fruits. There they do a cure. There's prunes, there's berries, there's raspberries, there's mulberries, there's mangosteen, there's all of these berries that they take and they detoxify with that. And they literally just eat that and water and breathe. They'll either go up in the mountain, they'll do a hiking to get good breathing and stuff like that, but they do it constantly. They keep healthy this way. And it's so important. And when they do eat lots of greens. I was boarding in a family, and I would not have a meal without, there was always greens in it. Either you had the cabbage, you had the kale, you had different kinds of kales. I tasted stuff over there I've never tasted over here or even seen. But it was their way of life. So when I came back having all of these things, and I thought, you know what? It's very hard to do it here, but I did try the best, and then all of a sudden having a daughter that had all of these allergies, because conceived my daughter in Europe, did all this eating of all this healthy stuff over there while she was in my belly, and I truly believe things passed all the time. And then came here to deliver her, went back over there with her, everything was fine, and then we moved to Canada. And oh my God, she developed all of these allergies. I couldn't even give her anything because she developed these hives, these rashes, these eczemas and everything, and I thought, geez, what is happening? Same thing I bought over there. Then I got my girlfriend, hey, send me these bottles here or these boxes of I need to see that, and there was difference. The stuff that was in their products over there was certainly, there was added stuff in ours, and these added stuff was probably what she was allergic to. I wasn't going to put a little newborn or whatever through all of these allergies, but then I went completely trying to get rid of all the chemicals and the toxic stuff, and I started making all her stuff going from places to place. I was very fortunate. I was living in Ottawa then. In Ottawa, they do have markets. They do have farmers that farms, and I was very, very fortunate. I was able to get as much as I can and try and help her, and got her to see how healthy living is. And being away for 2 years and her being exposed to something completely different and no more good cook-home food and stuff like that, she developed quite a few health problems. So she comes back home, and now we've gotten her back on track. And then she says, Mom, I won't ever go back. I won't ever go back to not taking what I know here now, because I'm old enough to realize, because I didn't know why you fed us all this thing, or why you made us eat this, or you made these drinks. I'm telling you, I went through quite a few juicers and quite a few food processors, because everything got processed, everything got passed, and they got all their greens, they got everything. So the part about the talking about alkalining, this greenies that we feed ourselves and stuff like that, it does alkalize ourselves, and it does ionize our cells. Our cells get ingested because of all these chemicals and everything, and all of a sudden we get the ion part of our cell does not absorb properly, because the information all of a sudden gets this chemical and it blocks the receptor that the cell is supposed to capture the next one to do the normal process of our cell activity. So then all of a sudden, the cell all of a sudden has an information that doesn't belong there, the rest of the chain can't link to it, and then all of a sudden the cell starts producing abnormal cells, or gets producing falsified information, and then we get all these ailments. So the thing is to try and detoxify ourselves, and detoxifying, like I said, a lot of berries is the biggest thing, and the most thing is chemical, toxic free, and trying to be organic as much as possible, because when you're not organic, then there's always chemicals that come with it, or pesticide that comes with it, and that's what engorges us. It doesn't allow us to be healthy. And then once you do that, you detoxify yourself, then you have to bring in the best you can to make sure that what you develop, you're developing good healthy cells. We produce cells every day, millions of them every day. And then we always do. They say, oh, as we age, we don't. Well, I don't know, because I saw a few of them that were 100 and they still look good. And they still were doing lots of things. So they were maintaining their health, and that was the biggest thing. So I know for me, the most important thing for my health is myself. So I don't know about you, but then you have to sort of look at it. Who is important in your life? And how much do I love myself, and what am I going to do for myself? And I leave you with that thought. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more quick video for you, and then any questions you have, we would welcome. So what is alkalinity? Alkalizing, why alkalize, the benefits of. Most of this is just a quick
have a pH balance around 7.365, which is should be green here. You actually take this strip and you put it in your saliva, and you take it out, and it should be green color compared to the test here. And it was kind of very, very light yellow. So that means she needs alkalizing.
So that kind of, I just turned off because again, we're in tar stock here. But that highlights what Lise was just talking about with the charges sticking together or repelling. So I thank you all very much for coming. We're gonna have, anybody has questions, we'll invite our three speakers up to the front, Lise and Carlene and Dr. Heather, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. Calvin.
I'd just like to make a comment there. It showed Otto Warburg a couple of times in there.
Yeah.
Now, he was, what, 2 or 3 time Nobel Prize
Yeah, he
winning
was.
research scientist?
Yeah,
And
he
he
was a
proved
research
that,
scientist in the 1930s that did extensive research on tumors. And he analyzed all these tumors, and all these tumors were acidic. All types of tumors that were cancerous and stuff like that were all acidic. And he didn't do a Nobel Prize, and at that time, he was really promoting lifestyle to be very alkaline and to really change our way of life and nutrients and how to alkalize in our water and feeding ourselves and the toxic chemicals. And the thing is that I never heard of this man, and I worked in the medical field and stuff like that, and we get sick people that are very acidic, and what we do is we give them a lot of stuff to get them back into their alkaline state immensely. And the thing is that all of a sudden, met Joan in February, and when I spoke to the CEO of this company, he said, before you do anything, he says, you're a medical person, he says, I want you to go read about Mr. Wahlberg. And I got his thing, is a gastroenterologist that did extensive study also on the digestive system and how important it is to have a healthy gut. And his healthy gut is to have an alkaline thing, and he talks about it also. So after doing these research on these two physicians and realizing, you know what, why is this not brought to the public? Why is that not, these Nobel Prize winners that won, why was it kept away? And it's because, I feel anyway, and I don't want to talk bad about it, but this is a way that it would have kept too many people healthy, too many things. Like in the last 6 weeks, I've had 3 best friends and young in their 30s, 40s diagnosed with major cancer. Like 2 of them, it's all over. So I'm going like, why? Why? Like they have little ones, like they don't even have a chance to see their little ones grow. It's like just devastating. And I said like, this would have been so simple. Just talking to them about Dr. Wahlberg or Dr. And I've got his name over here because he's got a very different name, this physician. But I could show it to you guys. Like it's just where is it? Dr. Singh and Dr. I think it's Singh his name anyway. Wahlberg and Singh. There it is. The gastroenterologist. And he has a thing in the States, and he does teaching on it. And it's spelled Shinya. Dr. Shinya or something like that. And
Say that again.
Shinya. And he's a gastroenterologist that promoted a healthy diet and ionizing alkaline water for a good reason, was to get a healthy gut. How many, I worked in a gastroenterologist for 9 months, and how many cancer, every day there was a few cases of cancer that we saw going inside the gut to see. And I'm like, why? Like young people too, not just old, and all these colitis and diverticulitis and all of that stuff, and it was such unhealthy gut and tissue, and I'm going, okay, well, maybe this would have been something that might have delayed the disease from coming, or might have prevented it from coming at all.
So good information to share with other people if you know someone.
But with the, like, when they do like PET scans on people, they use radioactive sugar, and then the tumors suck up the sugar because they love to eat sugar,
Yeah.
and it lights up. So, and then they say go home and eat a natural, well, just eat normally, you know. They don't tell you to avoid sugar or nothing.
Yeah,
so.
and they don't tell you to hydrate immensely, because this, you have to flush it out, and it has to go out by the kidney, and if it doesn't, it toxifies your kidneys. Some people have had go into acute renal failure and having to go on a dialysis machine post all of these tests that use iron, like the contrast and stuff like that. So the dyes.
Can you imagine how hard it is to be working in the medical field and know all this and have to be careful what you're
But just for you,
saying?
to spell this Warburg's name, it's WARBURG. And like I said, you can look these guys up. And
What was the first, I'm sorry, I missed it.
WARBUR, and that is G.
And at the back is those two videos that we just watched, the links are there.
Yeah, well, he proved that cells at a, what was it, oxygen deprivation of oxygen at a cellular level
Yeah.
cause the cells actually to blow off their amino enzyme outer coating, lose
Yes.
their governor on growth, and
Yeah.
then you had
And
a
you lose a lot of their
you
charges.
had an
There's
aerobic
alkaline.
cell that was just
Yeah.
growing
Yeah.
wildly.
Yeah, and that's why, like I say, when you look at, when I was looking in Switzerland, like all these people, like how they really, like, the breathing was so important, and how so many of them did yoga or some kind of Tai Chi or this yin yang thing that they used to do, and it was all with breathing techniques and how to breathe properly, because so many of us just breathe up here, and we just use this part here. But do we actually go down where the oxygen exchange occur, where deep down in our lungs, where actually where we have to hold our breath to allow these little sacs to all open up to have the gas exchange occur? Not too many of us do, because we tend to, we're so busy, we're so rushed, and we just breathe from up here.
This gentleman has a question.
You're in the medical field, been there for a long time. You're familiar with resource.
Mm-hmm.
You might have had a bit of your share of resource. I know I have. It's full of sugar. And they feed it to you when you're in the suffering from cancer and whatever else disease.
Mm-hmm.
So they're supplementing your food with this. I lived on this stuff for 6 months. They come and give you Jell-O. They come and give you all kinds of goodies while you're in the hospital in the
Sure.
Yeah.
So here you are suffering from cancer.
Yeah.
That sugar feeds cancer, and they're feeding you more in the hospital. Shouldn't this be a good education for you to take this to the hospital and share with their dietitians? Because my dietitian was giving me the stuff along with all kinds of other. I've always ate healthy until I was hospitalized.
Yeah, that's true.
It just blows me away.
Yeah.
This is what you should be sharing your message with the people that can make a difference to sick people.
To sick people, because I do talk about it, but a lot of times I get told to shut up.
I don't think the hospitals requested these ladies to come and speak with them.
Yeah.
It would have been Rick and your group.
It's almost like, it's a hard ground to go walk on, to try and vent too much and say too much, because, I don't know, I think what governs this whole part over there is it's hard to break through it. And they're slowly starting, because now they're allowing massage therapists and yoga people to come in the hospital to give courses and to allow to treat people. Because it needs to be, and I kept on saying, well, in Europe, do we do it all the time? Because in Europe, how many times did I get a, hey, you've got a special touch here, you've got reflexology, this guy in room there, you go do your trick here, you go do your things with him because I'm not gonna be giving him any more medication, or I'm not gonna be doing anything else, but go relieve his pain, or go help him in some way, and we do it. And there was no two qualms about it, because we were right there, and even in the emergency
I'm sure
department.
Heather could attest to the fact that chiropractors are more accepted today than they were 20 years
Want to
ago.
speak to that, Heather?
To a certain extent.
To a certain
Yeah.
extent, but this should be really addressed in hospitals and
It should be,
healthcare,
but-
because as a
But
patient,
hospitals are run with this, and pharmaceutical companies pay a lot of
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
They're
it's,
the ones that pay for the medical schools.
exactly, it's a tough slog, it doesn't make sense, but it makes financial sense. So those are the battles that you
Yeah.
fight, but if the grassroots, if people understand what they need in their body, then they'll go into the hospitals and they'll ask for it. And the more
Yeah.
people that ask for it, the
Yeah.
louder the voice becomes, because from the top down, the message is feed people more drugs, give them these things, it doesn't matter whether they get sick or they get better. But if people who understand go into the hospital or care for their family members that are in the hospital, and they say, no, I want greens on this tray, I don't want bright purple Jell-O and a bunch of garbage Boost, I want good food, then people will start to listen from the bottom up. And that's our best, no, but it's our best chance,
Yeah.
because there's no way we could talk to a hospital administrator and say.
And now they're allowing more family to bring in food.
That's the
They're
only way
allowing
you
a
can do it.
whole lot more than what they did before, because you couldn't do it before. You couldn't even have any place to store it. At least now, every unit has a fridge, and we put people's name, and we allow the family to come, and there's a microwave. There's not every unit has it, but ours broke, us as staff went to buy one to put it there, because we thought, no, it needs to be there, we need to have one. So there's just these little things that people are starting to realize, and when they have somebody, like, I tell them, if you got a family member, if you can, but I have to be very careful, because like I said, Lise is the odd person out. Lise, I think, has something wrong here, because she doesn't think like us or whatever, and it doesn't bother me, because you know what? I don't care about what they say or whatever. I care about me, and I care about the person I'm taking care of, and I want to do the best for that person that I'm taking care of, and that's my goal. I can go home and they can curse me, they can say whatever they want, but at least I know what I've done for this lady, I will have made a difference.
You,
And that's how I look
comment
at
here.
it.
I was just wondering, are there other countries like Switzerland, do they promote alkalinity?
Europe,
with anybody, like in Europe?
Like in,
So that
There's no GMOs in
Yeah.
Europe.
yeah, because I have a girlfriend that's Polish, and she could not believe the processed stuff over here. She goes, what's this? She didn't even know what a cheese slice was, like, because, oh my God, she said, what, and it's
One
cheese.
molecule away from being plastic.
Yeah, so to her it was like,
Sure
and it
does.
smelled like plastic, it smelled, so a lot of stuff she's never seen. And she keeps saying, oh my God, but now she's realizing, oh my God, I don't feel well, or, and her kids, well, now she calls her mom in Poland, Mom, it's going on, can you send me some stuff? Her mom sends her some stuff. She got some oils the other day, she says, Lise, my mom sent me some essential oils, because my son has this chronic cough or whatever. He says, yeah,
So they're
because
more
that is,
educated, they know about this?
yes.
But a lot of what we're
Like
working with
knowledge?
now is based on that. Like, we work a lot with essential oils, and all the stuff that you're gonna see is all organic, certified organic, and certified toxic-free, and that's what we want. And so we're finding, we're catching up with Europe.
Yeah.
And like this program that Dr. Heather, it is starting again in January, and it's just teaching people how to live healthy, how to cook, how to think, breathe.
Yeah, exercise, eat, move, and think. It's just, like, go back to the basics. When I grew up in a farm in Saskatchewan, and it was, you grow your food, you eat your food, and if you didn't grow it, your neighbor did, so you went over and you shared it, and you went to the beekeeper and you got your honey, and it was a community-based community, really, and we looked after each other, and we've gone so far away from that. I mean, I'm old enough, but I don't feel that old, but I feel like the world has changed so fast in what I grew up with to what I have to feed my kids nowadays, that if you can just go back to those simple times, your life would be so much healthier. And it's not difficult, it's just put the good things in stop putting the garbage in, get rid of the garbage that's already in there, so learning how to detoxify, moving your body, stop sitting at a computer or watching TV all day, just start moving and being more conscious of how you move. And then we're so stressed out all the time about everything. We're stressed about being stressed. That if we can just learn how to cope with things a little better and find some joy and fall in love with ourselves again, then all of these problems just become so much more minute. And it's being positive, but going back to the simplest things. And it's not difficult, but it's just sometimes we need a little reminder, a little push. So, yeah.
And also, I listened that you mentioned the deep breathing in Switzerland of that pure air. You could try it up here, what you get polluted air.
Better than Toronto.
Way better
I
than
do a
Toronto.
lot of deep breathing, but,
If you go in the woods, it's clean air here,
Yeah.
as clean as you're gonna get.
Yeah,
yeah,
because
well, that's
you
about
have to
it.
go in
Yeah,
areas
go in
that
the
are
woods.
very green,
Yeah.
and the more green, the more you can get into those woods,
Yes.
the more you can get into those bush and go climb like Mount McKay and, or these, I think there's those ski trails there, eh, like, that you can go walk, just because it's the green plants in the nature that purifies the air and gives it back, so then you breathe it, you just,
Also plants in your house.
mhm.
I think there was a
Green
question
plants in
back
the
here.
house.
Yeah, my question is for Heather. It's regarding meat. I don't eat a lot of meat, but what I do is eat organic meat.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what your views are on eating meat and whether you should or shouldn't, or how much you should or shouldn't.
I always try and get people to go back to the source. So what did your meat eat? Because that's what you're going to be eating.
Mhm.
So always trying to go organic or wild, or, you know, if you know what your animal ate, then if you're comfortable with it, then, you know, your body can handle it. Being vegan is shown to have a lot of really good health benefits, so you're not eating a lot of animal products. But it's also because the majority of our animal products are so polluted and so poorly raised that that's what you're ingesting, and that's where the stress comes. But animals do cause quite a strain on the whole sort of global environment, so they use up a lot of resources. But again, if your animal is wild, or if it's, you know, raised organically, or it's raised with some conscious thought, the environmental damage is also quite minimal. So if you're comfortable eating meat, just think about what it ate and where it lived. And I always tell my kids, is it happy meat? Was it a happy animal before it, you know, gave its life for you? Then you'll get some of those happy enzymes too. But if it was a farmed animal, you know, there's a lot of things that go along with that, so it can be pretty tough on
And
your
what about
system.
the acidic level on meat?
Meat is acidic,
Yeah.
so it causes you to become acidic. You don't need to eat, unless you're treating a disease, you don't need to eat 100% alkaline. You can eat 70-30. What you want to do is limit the amount of acidic foods that you're putting in to the lower amount, and then most of your foods are more alkaline. And there's lots of charts that you can get printed that have, you know, the difference between acidic foods and alkaline foods. If you're treating a disease, or if you want to move your health from a disease state to a healthy state, you're looking at 90% of your foods to become alkaline and 10% to be acidic. So you really want to push that. And then once your body starts to get healthier, you can have a little bit more leeway with the acidic foods. So yes, meats are acidic. If the majority of your diet is meat and very little vegetable, you're going to become acidic. If you can balance it off and find a healthy way to do it, you should be fine.
I brought some, have you guys all had strips where you've tested your alkalinity? Okay, I brought one if we can find it here. And if you guys want to take a strip or two home with you, and then in the morning you can
By
test.
the way, I saw on the video that you can test your
Yeah,
pH.
and I-
Where do you buy this kit?
Okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
you
Laura.
can, at any pharmacy, you can buy pH strips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any drugstore, you can buy pH strips.
Okay.
And, the way you either pee on it first thing in the morning, or you take it with your saliva, or whatever, and either way. Yeah.
I heard that if you do your pH in the morning, your body is dumping acid, and that's not the right time to do your pH.
we recommend it in the morning, right?
Your body is at its most rested state
Yeah.
when you're first thing in the morning. So you like to do, a lot of the tests become more, more accurate to what your body is doing because you haven't put anything extra in. Your body is a bit dehydrated in the morning, so that sometimes will show up, but that makes your urine more concentrated to what it is. If you're drinking a lot of water throughout the day and your kidneys are functioning well, most of your urine output is water, so you don't get a really good testing of it. So you might be more acidic, but it might be a truer picture of what your body's doing at rest for 12 hours.
Okay.
So it's tough to say, really your pH should be tested from your blood, but
Yeah.
it's pretty difficult to do, so your second best option.
So if you want, we have some strips here we give people one to take home, and you can try it tomorrow morning. We have 9 of these, which are, tell you, these are actually from Dr. Heather's teachings, from what she teaches. So people want to kind of share these around.
Did you have another question?
Yes, I did. She put the strip right in her mouth. And the recommended method I was told was spit into a spoon. Put
Together, I
the,
can take it home and copy it or whatever.
so you need to say that to everyone so that everyone hears that there's 2 ways and they can choose.
Okay, so she's talking about how to test your alkalinity. And go ahead.
And like I said, I was taught that way in Europe. How to test it was actually not to put it into your mouth because of but it was actually to spit out and then put your strip in it or spit on it or whatever, to really truly get a test. Because I was never taught in Europe to put it in my mouth anyway. I was either taught to, you start to pee and you catch the middle of the pee in it. It was never the beginning part of the pee neither that they had us do. But then, and then the same thing with the strip, with the saliva. So you just gotta make sure these strips, it's the dark, the greener. The greener it is, the lighter it is, the more acidic you are.
You probably want to do it in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's you. I've got a few napkins here if you want to wrap your new outlines.
Does anybody else have a question before we wrap it up? Is Dr. Heather's plan on her website?
You can buy the powder greens for supplements.
Thank you.
The more concentrated, you got a whole variety of sea greens.
I've got them in the wrapper on my toilet all the time.
Water, whatever you want to drink it with.
You want to wrap your own?
Depending on depending on the source of them, it does make life easier to have greens that you can pour into water and whip up and drink, for sure. And that's really good. What you miss out on in any processed product is the real nature of the plant. And a lot of things that they make, in order to process them, they have to heat. So when you heat something, you lose a lot of the alkaline nature, you lose a lot of the enzyme activity, things like that. So in the best of best worlds, if you could get those greens and eat them raw, that's what you're looking for. The second best, if you can juice those greens and drink the juice and then use the fiber, that would be sort of your next best option. But most of us don't have time and we don't have access to a lot of that.
Well, particularly up in the north, you're not going to get a lot of greens up there in the middle of winter, right?
55 days where you can
green
actually get.
supplements that you could use to supplement your
So
alkaline level.
you're always looking for your best source again of powdered greens.
Yeah.
And you want to find something that isn't heat produced. So that's one of the things that you want to look for. If it says that it's organic, you want to certify that every ingredient in it is really to label something as organic. It only has to have 2 to 3, and it only has to be like 20% out of the total product. So it's pretty loose.
I noticed there was a thing on, it was W5, but they went to China where a lot of our products are being made, and they say organic, and they just showed the guy a piece of paper, here, sign here, he signs, now it's organic, but there's nothing to do with organic in the product itself.
I cannot keep quiet 1 minute longer. I am dying here, okay?
Jump in.
This is after 15 years of searching, and this is truth from our souls, okay? This is the first and only company in the world that has a third-party seal from the Toxic Free Foundation that this is 100%.
Where's it made?
That things, the components come from different places.
But
It
where
is
is it
processed,
made?
it is sold out of Arizona,
Arizona.
okay? So everything is 100% toxic-free. They're all organic, but their certifications come from the countries that they come from the
Okay,
places
some of
they
those
come from.
certifications aren't worth paper they're written on.
I would like to show you, okay, I'd like to show you, because it's certified by the Toxic Free Association, and only 6 places in the world have that certification, and this is the only one that does this.
And where are
All
they
of
at?
us,
It's a
where's what,
world-
which,
The
which,
certifiers, the actually people who are certified.
The Toxic Free Foundation is a worldwide
It's
organization.
a worldwide organization.
And
Oh, okay.
they've just taken it upon themselves to, companies pay them to come and check everything, and so they're independent, so
Yeah.
they're
So there's
third-party
independent
independent.
testing going on.
that's
Yes.
right, that's what I mean by third party.
And the thing is it takes, for them to give their stamp of seal, that is a certified thing, it takes them 7 to 9 years, because they want to study all the land, the water that's feeding these plants and everything. And then from then they analyze the product. From then, they analyze the process of the product at different levels, and then they analyze the end of the product before they will give their seal. Once they give their seal, for a company to keep their seal, they need to know that they can go into that company at any time and sample anything at any time without saying a word. And if this company, when they do their testing, if something comes out that there's chemicals or there's something in it, they lose their seal. And it takes them another 7 to 9 years to get it again. So their products do not stay on the shelf long because they do not have nothing in it. And sometimes they're out of stock because something happened and they will not use it. They won't. So they want to stand by it. And that's the biggest thing, is they want to know that when that seal is put on that company, then that company will maintain their standards according to their seal. And that's one thing that they guarantee. And like I said, there's only 6 companies in the world that are carrying that final seal. And it's like, it takes a while to get it. So I thought, you know what, after researching everything and stuff like that.
It's the only place you can find, it's not the negative charge, eh?
Yeah.
I've got Dr. Heather's plan here, and in the highly alkaline, we have baking soda. Talk about baking soda for a few minutes.
Baking soda is a highly alkaline salt. It's what causes your body to become alkaline, it's what causes surfaces to become alkaline. It's what bubbles when you mix it with an acid. It is an alkaline salt. Consuming baking soda will cause your body to become alkaline fairly quickly.
But doesn't it also destroy all your vitamins?
It can also cause some issues in your body because your body has to effectively neutralize back down to neutral. So you have to watch what you're doing if you are going to consume it. But it is something that does work effectively to pH balance towards alkaline.
Used to brush your teeth with it every morning.
Yeah.
And there's studies.
When somebody comes into the hospital and they're very, very sick and they end up being septic and stuff like that and they have to go to ICU, we do blood gases and we know right away that their pH is very acidic, we need to get them, we give them soda bicarb. The soda bicarbs that we give them is specifically measured at a certain rate with blood levels that are done sporadically because we have to have it done and we have to have their blood gases, we do their blood gases continuously. So they always have an art line to do their blood gas, we always have a central line right into the, goes right into the one of the, just at the beginning of the heart to be able to pump the samples of bloods right away because we need to know, and they're watching and doing this pH thing constantly. That's why it's like it's a one-to-one nursing because you're actually drawing blood, you're going to run it, you're coming back at the levels and then you have to change all your stuff. But it's with soda bicarb.
Yeah. In solution?
In solution.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So time for maybe one more question. Anybody got one more question? Okay, so.
You know what, Carlene, hold the books up one at a time and just say the authors.
Okay.
We're ready on the back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a better idea. Thank you for that.
Okay. So Toscarino has the Eat Clean series of books.
There's another one right in front of you.
And then Chris Carr has the Crazy Sexy Cancer books. And she has a website, it's Crazy Sexy Wellness. And she posts a lot of things every day, and it's really promoting holistic living. And then, this isn't the book, but the anti-cancer book. It's David Servan-Sprager, and he was a medical professional who ended up with cancer, and he has passed away since, but what was going on with him is the conventional methods didn't suit him, and he was looking for his own source, because he finally was the patient, and he didn't like it. So his book is, the anti-cancer book, it's a little hard to take because it's very arrogant at the beginning. And the first time I was trying to read it when I had cancer, it put me off. But then later on in my journey, I picked it up again, and it was so good. Like, he was talking about drinking green tea, he was talking about exercises. He talks, there are charts in the back, actual grocery list, charts for what to eat for a high alkaline diet, but also even exercises, which ones are best for certain cancers, like breast cancer, which vegetables are the best thing. Apparently Brussels sprouts, you know, so it would show. He did a lot of studies, and he was in Montreal, so that was a good thing too, is that it was appropriate for Canadians. Yeah, I had a lot of resources, and I keep lending them out. They don't always come back, but those, oh, the other one too, and it started from my girlfriends here attending one of the workshops for craniosacral or myofascial. There was a talk here, and the book Knockout, Suzanne Summers, is awesome, and I read that one, and there are so many cures for cancer, and there have been for years and years and years, and there's a lot of things that are so simple, so cheap. Baking soda is on that list, you know, intravenous vitamin C, which you can get done in Thunder Bay. Like, there's a lot of ways. The naturopathic clinic. Yeah, and Jessica Carpenini can do it. So, but cancer is a big business.
Huge.
Chemo is like, you know, the whole industry. It's a big business, and they need sick people to run this thing. Could I just do one more plug while I'm at it? Sure. So, another part of what I'm interested in is because of my breast cancer journey, the breast cancer journey, I should say. Yeah. I'm involved with Trudy Jones and a couple other women. We're creating a women's health care resource center. We're not sure what it is yet, but we're wanting to get the word out there for women to be aware for their breast health. And we're going to be showing the documentary Pink Ribbons Inc. on Thursday at Bliss Cafe, and anyone is welcome. It's a good documentary because it talks about this whole fundraising and the pink washing of everything now. You know, there's nothing you can't buy. Pink Smarties, screwdrivers, anything. And you see the proceeds are going to breast cancer research. Well, only 3% is actually going to studying environmental causes, and I think 5% is looking at lifestyle and diet. The rest of it is just going back into that chemo, radiation, you know, the
pharmaceutical companies.
Slash burn and poison.
And a lot of men are getting breast cancer now too, right? We keep targeting women, but an awful lot of men are getting breast cancer now.
And children.
Yeah.
And children, yeah.
And if you can't get to Bliss Cafe, I'll show you the film next month.
Next month?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this Thursday I'm on night.
Here.
Don't get,
Yeah.
oh, here?
Yeah.
So this group meets every
First Tuesday of
every month.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to donate something to help them, to support them.
We just paid our rent, so it just goes towards the rent.
Was there enough film?
Oh, yes. Yes, it was.
Good.
In last year's Alive magazine, or the last year, they had Wendy Mesley from newscaster on TV.
Yeah.
She did everything right. She still got breast cancer. And when she went to do an investigation right across Canada, taking blood samples of people right across Canada to see what kind of contaminations they had in them. And they found that everywhere, no matter what denomination or what class you came from, rich, poor, everyone in Canada was contaminated with at least 50 or more contaminations in their blood, including children who have the most susceptibility to these chemicals.
There's a video called The 10 Americans. And it goes through about, they tested the blood on all these 10 Americans and they found contaminants from way, way back. And at the end it shows you that it's the stem cells from the umbilical cords from 10 children, 10 infants. So it was showing that that we're carrying this from our all the way through. Wouldn't it be great to get some of these kids now, get them started on learning alkalinity so that when they do have children, at least they don't carry as much, eh?
Or that the women, before they decide to childbear a child, decide to go at least a year before and do everything so that to eliminate some of it, because like I said, it was 10 blood samples from 10 umbilical cords from different babies from all over. And like I said, you can say, how did it ever get that? They were in the womb. But it was passed through the mother, and some of these chemicals were banned at least 40 years off the market. And they were still present in the moment. The mother passing it to their baby, and the baby was having it in their blood.
So it had to have been from the mother to the mother to the, like, this is
Do you think
evidence.
it would take a year to get those toxins?
Well, I don't know, but at least to go healthy for a year anyway, to try and
Give it a chance.
Give it a chance anyway, because like it's now they say that in the year 2020 there's going to be 1 in 6 children that's going to be like have leukemia and stuff like that. Like 1 in 8 is born with ADHD and all these autism and everything. You're going like, oh, the world is going to be run by these people. And where do we fit in there? Like, it's like, oh my, it's a bit of a shocking because you're sort of saying, okay,
So
it's
I see
all this
people-
technology.
I see people starting to get coats on and getting ready to leave. We don't want to keep you past your time, but you're welcome to stay and chat some more if you want. I just really honor all 3 of you ladies for speaking up, and thank you so much for